FAnews is one of the AIE media partners, and for that I have the privilege of speaking to some of the sponsors. Discovery is quite a big sponsor for the AIE conference this year, and it's a great privilege for me to speak to Darryl Grater. Hi, Darryl.
Hi, Renette. Thank you for having me. And indeed, I think we're all very excited to attend conference this year, even if it is digital and not in person.
Yes, I wanted to actually touch on the fact that I think the AIE conference has always been a highlight in the insurance calendar. And I think last year we missed it completely. This year we will at least have it virtual. But I think we all really miss the networking part of these conferences and just getting together. Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. I think this is a relationship. Well, it's a relationship-based industry. I think the insurance industry has long thrived on how strong your relationship and network is. I think I was quite relieved last year when it didn't take place, considering I didn't have to keep picking up 20 of my golf balls. But on a serious note, I think last year was sad that it didn't take place. We understood why. Kudos to the ISA and the partners, SAIE, the FIA, and everyone that's contributing to this conference in ensuring that it still goes ahead. We are a resilient industry, and we always find a way to make things happen. And in many ways, I think this conference will be even more efficient. Having the digital arm out to the market. It's a lot more scalable. It's a lot more receptive for various regions. People can now really join anywhere in the world. And I think there's access to a lot more talent to speak to the market. It's not dependent now on flight schedules and sort of international travel arrangements. So I think there's a lot of opportunity we can look forward to as well.
I agree with you, and I think going forward, I'm quite looking forward to the hybrid model we're going to possibly work in terms of going forward in terms of any conference. You are quite right. Everyone is much more receptive and resilient to the way things are being done, and it opens up the world of opportunities. So it's awesome. You had a look at the program, Darryl. What do you think? Do you like it?
So it's a jam-packed program. Really, I think relevant topics. If I look at the 2 days that we'll be joining, and I think so relevant for the year past. If you consider the year, what a year. Besides the ongoing sort of pandemic and just the resultant economic impact. If you consider just what's happened, with on the regulatory front, the implementation of papaya. If you consider, the recent, very, very tragic and unfortunate circumstances that took place in KZN and Gauteng with the riots, it's been a pretty disruptive sort of last 12 months in many ways. And if you look at the topics, there's so much correlation. There's disaster management, there's data regulation. I think one of the topics was the human side of disasters, and the new normal being normal. So I think it's everything that we can relate to, whether you're an insurer, a broker, a reinsurer. I think we've all been impacted by these factors I've mentioned. And I think also importantly, along with when there's so much disruption and so much uncertainty in any market, the value of advice is more important than ever before. So, the impact and the role of distributing insurance is going to be very, very important, because I think above everything, the last 12 months have also shown you actually really need insurance.
Yeah.
And you need Sastria plugged onto your policy if you don't have it, as an example. And I think a lot of people that weren't insured have realized the need. And so it's also very relevant. I see that the distribution of insurance is also one of the main themes for the conference this year. And I think that will be very exciting to unpack.
Yeah, I 100% agree on all the things with you, especially on the fact that the role and the critical importance of having insurance. Let's touch on that with part of the AIE conference, and part of your sponsorship goes to make sure that they can include 40 SMMEs to invite to the conference. It is an extremely critical project that they are running with, and it's an critical important thing for us as an industry to get more black brokers in the market.
Sure.
Do you as Discovery have any specific plans in this space, and how important is upskilling and grow black brokers specifically, because I don't think they realize their importance.
Sure. So absolutely. So part of our sponsorship this year, so I mean, we generally sponsor this conference every year. We're a mainline sponsor. And on top of that, we've sponsored, you mentioned those SMME type brokers. It's important that there's a full spread of brokers that attend these conferences, because there's a lot to learn. We've got a very strong empowerment and development focus within Discovery as a whole. That also translates to our broker markets and to our intermediaries, where we have various learnership programs and graduate programs specifically focused on financial advice. So it's very close to our hearts, and we'll continue to invest in that space. And then just also in terms of empowering SMEs, it's also very close to Discovery Insure's heart specifically, hence why we launched the Discovery Business Insurance product 3 years ago, really focusing on commercial insurance for the SME, and not just providing insurance to that market, but really enabling business, where you look at the sort of the detail of that product. So it's very close to our heart. It's really integrated in what we do. And we're really privileged just to be able to lend a hand where we can. So Discovery is excited to be there.
That's awesome. Do you think brokers realize the importance of their role when it comes to educating clients on covers? I mean, we know that there are SASRA covers most of the damage that's been done, but there was a lot of uninsured businesses, small businesses that suffered major losses and will probably never be able to open again. Some of that could have been prevented because, yes, some of them probably didn't have money to insure, but some of them probably did have money but had no clue what is the basic and the most important part of the insurance element. Do you think brokers realize how big their role is in this department?
Yeah, absolutely, I think they do. I think the bigger issue, if I look at South Africa specifically, is I think financial literacy. Yeah. I think I think there's a big proportion of our population that doesn't necessarily put enough weight and value on financial products like insurance. Yes. So I think that's a more macro issue. But if I look at the financial advisors within South Africa, I'm pretty sure they're all passionate about what they do in rendering specific risk-focused advice and providing advice that really caters for the need on hand. From a Discovery perspective, we'll always do our best to enable the broker, and that's why we'll always invest in everything that we can do in really creating a broad product suite that really enables the broker to cater for almost every LSM or every segment in both the personal and the commercial lines SME market. And we want to also then assist the broker in that very cause, in providing products that cater for the risks of today. I think traditionally insurance often has been the same in terms of product design for 30, 40 years. And I think there's an onus on insurers in staying relevant and offering risk protection to emerging risks. When you consider reputation risks, when you consider cyber, social media liabilities, the different forms of business interruption. And that's where I think, the insurance companies need to ensure they stay relevant and enable the brokers and the intermediaries linked to them to differentiate themselves, but also provide that very specialist risk solution that caters not just, for material damage or property damage or specific asset damage. So I think, it's a pretty complex issue, but I think if insurers remain relevant, and I think brokers stay top of their game in terms of understanding the products in the market and being very close to the need in the market. So there's also an onus on brokers to understand where are these liabilities, where are these gaps in SMEs and in sort of individual households. So there's a joint accountability, but I'm pretty convinced that most brokers out there really are passionate about providing really good, sort of cover. And I think just in our engagements with the FIA as an example, and their linked members, we see that come across strongly.
That's really good news. So I think let's end this by message from you for everyone who has not yet signed up for the conference, why should they?
Well, I think I think I kind of answered it already when it comes to just accessibility. You no longer now do you need to travel to Sun City. You don't now have to join the waiting list to try and get hotel accommodation. You don't have to be embarrassed on the golf course. I say that to myself. It's really just about accessibility. There's a lot to learn. I'm sure there'll be professional networking opportunities, even digitally on the infrastructure that's used. And you'll definitely be better for it. So the best wishes to the team that's arranging it and that's organizing it, and to you and your team too, Rionette. We're looking forward to it from Discovery's perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for your involvement, Darryl, and it was great chatting to you. All the best.
You too. Bye-bye.